Tons of people are moving to Mississauga, and I mean tons. Just over 17 years ago, when I moved to Mississauga with my family, it's one of the fastest growing cities in Canada. Its population has nearly doubled in the last 25 years to about 804,000 people in 2024. Mississauga is the 6th largest city in Canada and is one of the most diverse cities in all of Canada. It's also considered one of the most diverse in the world, with over 60% of residents identifying as visible minority, according to Stats Canada. It's not perfect, and the rapid growth has created some problems. So if you're thinking of moving to Mississauga, there's a bunch of things that you need to consider, like traffic, and you need a car to get everywhere. And most importantly, I'll share with you some of the cons and the pros of living in Mississauga. Things that I wish I knew before I moved here to Mississauga, Ontario. Hi everyone, this is Maria Ho, and if this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. This is where I show you everything that you need to know about living, working, eating, sleeping, playing, the good and the bad of Mississauga, Ontario, and the surrounding areas. As a real estate agent and team lead of Maria Homes, with a collective 20 years experience helping hundreds of people just like you make the move to Mississauga and the Greater Toronto Area, Ontario, and I absolutely love it. So if you're planning to make a move to anywhere in the Greater Toronto Area, then give me a shout. All of my contact information is down below, and I'd be happy to help you move smoothly to Toronto and the surrounding areas. For now, let's get to the first con of moving to Mississauga, which is the traffic. As Mississauga grew so fast, the infrastructure just couldn't keep up. Tons of subdivisions were being built from the east part of the city, border Etobicoke, to the west border of Oakville and Milton. Now there's a lot of traffic and congestion, especially during rush hours, on quite a few main streets like Eglinton, Ontario, and the main highway arteries like the QEW or 401 and 403. The one great thing about Mississauga though is that outside of rush hours, the roads are really well built and it is easy to get around the city, and it takes on average about 20 minutes or so to get from point A to point B. There are also many different ways and main roads to get into Mississauga and out of Mississauga. The convenient thing about Mississauga, it is very central to everything. It's about 20 minutes drive to the Toronto Pearson Airport, the largest airport in Canada, and about 40 minutes drive to downtown Toronto, outside of rush hours, and of course when there's no traffic jam. Con number 2, expensive housing. We all know that Toronto is one of the most expensive cities in North America, but when you compare Mississauga to Ontario, what many people may not know is that Mississauga holds up its real estate value extremely well, and it's a very resilient housing market. Mississauga average house price as of January 2024 is $1,048,000, which is about the same average price across all types of properties in downtown central Toronto. And this is due to the mix of properties, because obviously in Toronto there are more condos versus the average of all houses and condos in Mississauga. There are more houses. The average price of a detached house in Mississauga is $1.6 million versus the average detached house price in all of the city of Toronto is $1.57 million. The average price of condo apartment in Mississauga is $595,000 versus the city of Toronto condo average price is $710,000. Downtown Toronto has the highest average condo price of $762,000. Pro number 1, family friendly. Another reason many families have been moving to Mississauga is because it is a very family friendly and safe city. Out of the top 50 public high schools in Ontario, 3 of them are located in Mississauga: John Fraser, The Woodlands, and Port Credit. There are also several high schools that offer the IB programs, which is an academically rigorous program for high school students to expand opportunities for submission into university. The City of Mississauga offers 43 community and recreation centers that offer free outdoor playgrounds, indoor activities, and sports facilities for children and adults alike. There's lots of family-friendly activities in Mississauga throughout all year round. And Mississauga still remains Canada's safest town for 9 years running, even considering the population growth. Pro number 2, nature. One of my personal favorite things about living in Mississauga is the nature parks and trails. If you're like me and you love to be in nature, you would really appreciate living in Mississauga. There are over 500 parks to explore in Mississauga, from small green spaces to large destination parks. Each park offers a unique experience and ways to stay active outdoors. Not only do you get beautiful views of forests and rivers, but because Mississauga is a lakeside city, you also get to see views of Lake Ontario, where there are beaches, lakefront parks, and trails all along the south of Mississauga, from Clarkson on the west end to Port Credit and over to Lakeview Community on the east end of Mississauga. There are so many to choose from, and a few of my favorites and local residents are the Jack Darling Memorial Park and Lakefront Promenade Park. Many of the local residents are lucky to enjoy the beautiful views of the parks and lakes right from their own backyards. If you're like me and you love to hike or walk on a trail, you will enjoy 72 scenic trails in the Mississauga area. One of my personal all-time favorite that's close to where I live is the Credit River Trail at the Timothy Street Park in Streetsville. Here you can really escape from the bustling city into a very serene and peaceful forest trail right next to the river. The Credit River runs from Orangeville and Caledon right through Mississauga and empties into Lake Ontario at Port Credit, Mississauga. The total length of the Credit River is over 1,500 kilometers. And in the fall, around our Thanksgiving holiday, you can see the annual salmon migration or salmon run right here at Credit River in Streetsville. You'll find huge-sized salmon making their yearly trek from Lake Ontario up the Credit River. Pro number 3, Streetsville. From this Credit River Trail, you will arrive in Streetsville, which is very close to where I live, and it's one of my all-time favorite neighborhoods in Mississauga. This is a well-known little gem of a place that only mostly local residents know what Streetsville has to offer. It's dubbed the village in the city, and it's very charming and quaint. Streetsville has the largest number of historic buildings in Mississauga. It blends old world charm with more than 300 unique restaurants, cafes, pubs, shops, spas, salons, and more. There are a handful of streets of beautiful character-centric homes and many older houses that have been demolished and rebuilt into new custom-built houses surrounding the area of Streetsville. Pro number 4, City Centre. Mississauga City Centre is the downtown core of Mississauga, Ontario. This is the downtown district located at the intersection of Hurontario and Burnhamthorpe, centered around Square One Shopping Centre. This is the largest shopping mall in Ontario and the second largest shopping centre in Canada. It has more than 350 stores and it serves over 24 million people each year. Next to Square One is the City Centre hub with the Mississauga City Hall, Living Arts Center, Mississauga Central Library, and the Sheridan College, which is now called the Hazel McCallion Campus, named after our city's longest-serving mayor for 36 years. Hazel McCallion had been re-elected 10 times from 1978 to 2014. She was loved by the local residents and has definitely contributed to the incredible growth and development of Mississauga to today as the 6th largest city in Canada. The Celebration Square holds hundreds of free festivals, concerts, and events, and also in the wintertime where people can enjoy free outdoor skating in the city's largest outdoor ice skating rink. If you're hungry, you can even dine here from a variety of delicious food trucks. Yummy. Pro number 5, condos. There are hundreds of condos, from new pre-construction to older buildings that were built in the 1970s. And this gives a lot of affordable housing options for young people, first-time home buyers, and also older people who want to downsize from a house to living in a smaller home with no stairs and no maintenance. The Mississauga City Centre has developed into a bustling core of high-rise buildings and a few iconic condos that really stand out. Probably the most famous is the Marilyn Monroe Twin Towers, out of 5 condos in the Absolute World Complex built by the builder Fernbrook Homes. The Marilyn Monroe building also won the Emperor's Skyscraper Award in 2012. And you cannot miss seeing these twin towers pretty much from miles away, especially when you're driving on the Highway 403, passing through Mississauga to and from Toronto. There's also now underway the massive M City at Burnham Thorpe and Confederation, which is by far the most ambitious condo development by Rogers Real Estate and Urban Capital Property, with 8 towers across 15 acres and $2.5 billion master plan community. The M City project has completely changed the downtown Mississauga skyline landscape forever. It's a city within a city neighborhood feel, with so many amenities all within walking distance. The completed M1 and M2 twin buildings, already occupied now with new residents, are probably the most iconic buildings in the landmark of Mississauga's downtown. And it's also the city's tallest building at 62 towers. They have a very unconventional design with skewing and stacking floor plates, making them look very zigzag-like, and feature the Greater Toronto area's first rooftop skating rink. There are more than 30 new pre-construction condos for sale in Mississauga, with the average price per square foot of more than $1,000, compared to Toronto new condos of more than $1,200 per square foot. There's another second city centre being developed on the west side of Mississauga, which is Erin Mills. I'm going to show you on a future video of this growing uptown area with new high-rise condos and also some of the most luxurious homes in the central Erin Mills community along Mississauga Road. I'm really excited to show you more, so stay tuned for more videos from me. And if you love watching this one, then hit the subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications for my weekly videos. All my contact information is here below. Just call or text me if you have any questions about moving or relocating to Mississauga. I would love to help and have a conversation with you.